Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing almost like a Christmas special for this year. Going to do this Christmas Eve video. This was a viewer requested topic, a longer one than usual. People wanted to hear me compare, give my thoughts on the differences between the Walking Dead television series and the original Walking Dead comic book series. Okay, and spoiler warning for both the comic book series and the television series. If you guys don't want to know the events of both, then this video is not for you. This is kind of a in-depth video. This is going to be an explanation type video. We're going to be going through in depth the comic book series and then mentioning the TV series and looking at the differences between both. So I want to thank you, the person who suggested this. Sorry I didn't write down your name. You can write in the comments below. This was your suggestion, so you can take credit for it below. I have done videos like this in the past before, but it's been a long time, and there's obviously been a ton of changes up until this point. I think it's been a couple years, would have been back in like season 4 or something when I did the last in-depth type of one. So we're going to be taking a look at the Walking Dead trades, which I think is the best way to read the comic book series for me anyway. There's also the compendiums, which are really cool, and there's the individual issues, which are cool. But if you miss the original release of the individual issues, each issue can run, especially the first 10 are thousands. The issue number 1 in good shape is like 1,000. You could get the weeklies, which are cheaper, after releases if you want. But it'd just be hard to track down every single individual issue, man. Really, really hard. Even I haven't gone to that extreme. So, so we'll break off this section here. This is basically the section of the Walking Dead comic book series later on, starting with volume 18 of what comes after. This stuff is like later on in the series. So this would be like season 7, March to War, this one here. This is also later on. I've done reviews for every single one of these. These are like individual story arcs. They're like 6-issue collections. So you get a whole kind of story arc of each part of the Walking Dead in each one. So really awesome. All Out War, and then going all the way through to Whispers into Screams. And I don't have volume 24 yet, but I've read the individual issues of that. So I'm going to purchase that eventually afterwards. And as you can see, the backdrop has been disassembled so that we can do that. And I'll actually update. I think I'll put these ones in the backdrop because the old ones, we've passed all that part by this point. So let me just put these down over here. Those ones are further on. We can't compare. And the bulk of what we're looking at here are volumes. Oh, jeez. Volumes 1 through 17. So that's a lot. And also, too, for people that have not read the comic book series, you may like this video because this is going to give you an idea of how it differs from the television series, and we're going to go into all the different aspects. So 1 through 17 in terms of the volumes. Wow. And that covers up to the end of season 6, basically, or what it should be, which we have some idea of what we're going to see. And as you can see, my trades are destroyed from the backdrop. But that's okay. It's a necessary sacrifice to share my passion with The Walking Dead for you guys. And have the channel here that my individual collection sometimes gets a bit ruined. Oh well. They're not that expensive. I could always buy new ones. Okay, so the beginning. So let's start at the beginning, season 1. So Days Gone By. This is the first trade. This is like the first season of The Walking Dead on television. I also got the, things here. Season 1. So here's the Blu-ray for season 1. Rick riding into Atlanta is an iconic scene from this, from this trade. And the main differences between this one and the television series are mainly what happens with Shane, I want to say. The rest of it is very similar. You have the addition of the Vatos in the television series, which is a bit different. Some Glenn getting into some trouble. You have Merle, you have Daryl, who are in the television series that don't exist in the original comic book series that was released first. And you've got some good stuff with Shane in that and Lori. But it kind of blows past it really quickly. This is when we get into the spoiler part. Shane is actually quickly killed in the comic books in the first trade by Carl. Carl shoots him in the neck when he points a gun at Rick, and he threatens to kill Rick. So Carl in the comic book series actually does kill Shane when he's alive, and not when he's zombified Shane and Rick doesn't kill him, which actually I like the change in the TV series. It was actually, I think, even better that you had Rick kill him and then Carl shoot down zombie Shane, which has really worked out well. Aside from that, it's basically the same. The artwork is pretty awesome. You got booms and things like that, and zombies when they attack the camp. You have Amy and Andrea in that, and there's the comic book version of Amy getting wrecked, and aside from that, I mean, that's there's minor other changes, but that's basically the differences between that. So Shane lives in this one, whereas in the comic book series he dies. So that's issue trade volume, or that's volume 1. Volume 2, now this is where we get a lot different. Shane is still alive in the TV series going into season 2, but in Volume 2, where they go to Herschel's farm and that, in Volume 2, he's already dead. So you've got, it's called Miles Behind Us, and this one we meet Herschel. Herschel's a jerk. I mean, in the TV series, he's a little bit of a jerk too, but in the comic book series, he's even more of a jerk, and he's not nearly as nice. He kind of absorbed some of Dale's stuff in the television series version. We've got some other characters like Otis in that. We don't have the Save the Last One stuff that was added in the TV series. And we have the first appearance of Tyrese in this trade. He's right here. So we find Tyrese's group in what would be season 2, but it's pushed way back because Shane survives, and that makes for quite a few differences. We also see a community called Wiltshire Estates, which we kind of saw Shirewilt with Noah, that they put it in season 5. It's not really the same. It doesn't look the same. It doesn't feel the same. We saw Shane and Andrea go there in the television series, kind of like that. Here's a picture of it here. Wiltshire Estates, and it's like an estate. So the closest community that we've seen would be when Shane and Andrea go there in the second season. But again, so different because Tyrese is already in the show, and or is already in the comic books, or in the second volume, and it doesn't show up in the show until season 3, way later, when the governor's already there and stuff like that. So volume 3, we've already covered basically 2 seasons now. TV series version, Shane is killed, they leave the farm, all that kind of stuff. It gets overwhelmed with the walkers and that in the TV series in the finale. We go into season 3, and basically they find the prison. That's pretty much where the trade volume 2 ends, and volume 3 basically starts as them taking over the prison. So this is like Safety Behind Bars, this one right here, and you get to look at the prison in that in the comic book series. This was the original look of the prison, which I felt like they captured pretty good in the television series version. It never looked quite as big as it did in the comic book series, but that's hard to do on real scale to create something this big, right? Where they could actually just film and blow it up and do whatever the hell they want. So this is where season 3's pacing gets crazy, because in the comic book series, we have the prisoners. They meet the prisoners when they take over the prison, and it basically takes up this entire trade. It takes up the whole part. We meet the prisoners, and it isn't until basically the end of the trade where we see them. Let's see here, or maybe not even. You've got Rick. He beats the crap out of one of them, tries to kill Andrea, who Andrea is also at the prison at this time in the comic book series. So it's a lot different as well, too. And you've got this guy who's really, really weird, who tries to actually kill Andrea, and Rick catches him and beats him down and ground and pounds his face in, basically, with his fist. And then they, let's see, did they hang him? I'm trying to remember here, because it's been a while since I've, no, they blow him to smithereens, it looks like, at least for now. I'm trying to remember, because some of it's fuzzy logic, because it's been a while since I've actually gone through these myself. It's been a couple years, I want to say, because they were in the backdrop and I didn't want to take them down. So really cool. But then there's also a part here. Let's see here. Rick goes out, and 2 of Herschel's daughters are killed in this one, which also don't exist in the television series. You have Axel, who's quite a bit different from the television series. And man, it's actually pretty scary. So I don't want this video to eliminate your guys' interest in actually buying the comic book series if you decide to do so, because it's got a lot of differences, a lot of different characters, a lot of different things that are happening. It's just way different than the TV series. Sasha, or Tyrese's, is it his sister? Whoever's with him, like the Sasha version of the comic book series, almost is actually killed in this one, and she commits suicide with her boyfriend. It's quite a bit different, but I don't think her name, is her name Sasha? I'm trying to remember if her name is actually Sasha. Again, like I said, fuzzy logic. At a certain point, your brain moves information from your pre-conscious into your subconscious, and it's not that easy to remember. But yeah, anyway, Volume 2, Safety Behind Bars. So that's a really good one. Again, so different from the TV series and Season 3. Volume 4, A Heart's Desire, which would also be like your Season 3 type deal. This is the one where we have the fight between Tyrese and Rick, where they go into a huge fist fight, and it's actually way more epic in the comic book series than it is in the TV series. They like hit each other over a banister and stuff in the prison, and it's just crazy. You got Michonne here, and let's see. Is this the first appearance? I'm trying to remember if this is the first appearance. And the prisoners are still around right now, whereas in season 3 they killed them off in like the first couple episodes, if you remember. Like pretty much as soon as they met them, they were a couple episodes they were done. They used them all the way through for this one, pretty much all the way through for this trade. A couple trades. So the pacing of how much of the comic book series, the TV series uses up in the first 2 seasons, and then the third is totally different. The third season, they use up like way more. They add in some stuff in season 2 with Dave and Tony in the bar and some different things like that. They have Dale get killed off at the end of season 2, who's still alive in the comic book series at this time. So again, quite a bit different versions, just different in a lot of ways, characters in that. You've got Carol hooks up with Tyrese, the comic book series version of Carol. That's weird. So the television series version of Carol is kind of independent to the TV series. She doesn't really exist. The name is the same, but the characters are total opposites. Can you imagine Carol in the TV series hooking up with Tyrese? I wouldn't think so. And then Michonne likes Tyrese, so she gives him a BJ. It's right out of the pages anyway. And then Carol like kills herself because of Tyrese hooking up with Michonne, and then Rick confronts Tyrese about what happened, or they get into a huge fight, and Carol tries to make out with Rick. It's just it's crazy. I'm literally going through this and trying to remember it. And this is a pretty great page here. We are the Walking Dead, when it refers to the survivors as the Walking Dead, not as the zombies. And that's an important part, and that actually doesn't even come in until season 5 when we see them use that line. So that's volume 4, The Heart's Desire. Wow, man. So just the differences, as you can see as we're going through, there's just so many, it's hard for me to even mention them all in one video. Volume 5, The Best Defense. So this is also still at the prison. Again, the prison didn't last nearly as long in the TV series. We're getting to see Woodbury. We see Rick and the group go to Woodbury, and because of a down helicopter. And they basically, when they go there, they get captured. Pretty much Rick gets captured. Not in the TV series. Totally different. The governor cuts his goddamn hand off as soon as he meets him. Brutal, man. Just brutal. And doesn't let them leave. Same with Glenn. And Glenn kind of gets like tortured or scared. The governor in the TV series is quite the jerk. He's quite the asshole. And, you got Glenn like crying. He's been beaten up. You got the famous scene with him watching the fish tanks, full of zombie heads with the governor there. And it just shows us how messed up this guy is. He's just so messed up. He like rapes Michonne and beats her, this kind of thing. Brutal, man. The comic book series version, with regards to the governor, is even darker than the TV series. Way darker. And they're just in a bad way. So that's this one. This is one of the scariest ones of the whole series. The best defense. I'm trying to see the exact page where the governor dices Rick's hand off. Brutal, man. Yeah, here's where Rick wakes up. And he's got a stump, which is, again, it's so different than you guys are probably used to. Some of you guys who only have seen the TV series are probably like, what? What happened? And remember, this is the original version. So they hold him down, and they actually just cut his damn hand off. Right here. He cuts it off. He machetes it off. Is it a machete? Yeah, how about now? And cuts it right off. Michonne loses her mind. And oh, man, the governor. I always hated the governor from the comic book series because he does that. And I feel like the TV series version, David Morrissey, he's by the way, he just got an honorary doctorate. I don't know if you guys heard about that. He got an honorary doctorate from a university or college in the UK. So that's pretty awesome. He's a doctor, Dr. Morrissey now. So that's pretty sweet. Must be Walking Dead fans. But he's fantastic anyway. Like, he gave the governor some heart, which in the comic book series, he didn't have any of that. So volume 6 is This Sorrowful Life. You can see how season 3 just went through so many trades. It's freaking crazy. I mentioned it many times. The pacing of season 3 is just way too fast. They could have never kept that up. You've got Martinez in here, who looks quite a bit different from the TV series version. There's the comic series version of Martinez. And basically, one of the doctors, I think it's Dr. Stevens, he helps Rick and the others escape pretty much. And when they do so, they think they're getting away and everything's all good. And they're actually tracked back to the prison so that the governor can find out where the prison is. So again, it's quite a bit different from the television series version. And so they sneak out, and Martinez goes with him. He pretends like he's helping them escape and everything. And then Martinez basically tries to go back to Woodbury to tell the governor where the prison is, and Rick runs him over and kills him. And basically, that part right there is, oh man, it's so crazy. That's actually coming up in a couple. But when they get back to the prison is overrun, and then Rick has to basically, from Woodbury, has to help clear it out, and they regain control. And then he sees right here, this is crucial, Martinez running back away to tell the governor where it is. Rick sees him right here, okay, and Rick, in cold blood, brutally, runs him over and beats him to death, or basically, yeah, kills him, beats him to death. Here's the part where he runs him over. Boom, runs him over with the, is it the RV? Runs the fuck over. Or like a prison bus or something. And, oh my God, so that's what happens to him. And then, so then they get ready. So the final line is that they're going to get ready for the governor. So that's This Sorrowful Life. Crazy, man. So then we have The Calm Before, which is volume 7, which you can see Laurie pregnant right here. Rick with his one hand, and he's holding onto the belly. So again, you know, even just if you think of the hand in this part, the comic book series, man, now that I look at it, is quite a bit darker than the television series version. It's more brutal. You've got the part at the beginning with Shane. She's thinking about Shane, you know, and what happened with them making love and that kind of stuff. And this alludes to when she's pregnant. In the comic book series version, it's pretty clear based on those thoughts and what's happening that the baby is Shane's. It's not Rick's. Judith is Shane's in the comic book series. The television series version, I would go with it probably being Rick's, but we've done videos in the past about that. Again, a lot different. But in the comic book series, it's pretty obvious that it's Shane's baby, and in the TV series, they may have changed it. So you've got the armory. They're loading up. They're getting ready because they know the governor's gonna come. And Laurie says they need to talk about Shane and this kind of deal. And let's see. I've got a doctor checking on Laurie, and Tyrese is still there. You've got some explosions and stuff. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, right. So this is kind of the part where they kind of fight at a ammunitions between a group from Woodbury and Rick's group. They kind of get into a gunfight at a ammunitions type place, which is similar to kind of where Rick and the governor kind of talked and weren't able to see eye to eye. Then we have a part where Dale, actually, who's still alive at this point in the comic book series, all the way up to what would be like the end of season 3 or in season 4, he actually gets bitten on the ankle, which is swapped out for Herschel in the TV series in the premiere. So again, season 3, I think they included way too much stuff, and they should have added more filler because they were just covering way too much of the series, and that's why I'm sure Glenn Mazzara was swapped out for Scott Gimple, because his pacing was just way too fast. He was including too much stuff. Also, Andrea and Dale were in a relationship at this time in the comic book series, whereas in the TV series it was Andrea and the governor, which is so weird. But I thought it worked out pretty cool. It was a good remix. You've got some target practice, some ammunition practice from them. They're practicing to see who they're going to kill, this type of deal. And let's see here. Okay, this is the part where Carol commits suicide. She decides to allow a zombie to basically eat her, which is brutal, man. Really weird and just crazy. And yeah, Carol, and that's what happens to her. And then she turns, and they put her down, and then they bury her, which is just crazy insane. Then we get the epic. This is actually a T-shirt. They've actually put this on with the governor where he says, kill them all. And also he's got one arm missing because when Michonne in the comic book series goes back, she tortures him. She takes his eye out. She cuts his arm off. And she does some pretty nasty things to him in the comic book series. Way worse than the TV series, which it was in season 3 about midway through or so. I think it was in the first half. Yeah, roughly first half of season 3. So there's that. Now, this is the biggest trade of the comic book series up until the parts with Negan of the first part. This one is Made to Suffer. So this is the equivalent of Too Far Gone in the television series, which would be now into season 4. But because it's so swapped around, it's difficult, for us to kind of place it in terms of exact timing because the events are so mixed up. So it shows the governor, what happens to him and kind of how he made it there and what happened to him. So this would be like your first half, season 4. On the TV series, they added in the illness stuff never existed in the comic book series. And then he rolls out here to the prison with the tank and all the other stuff that he's got, all the other men and stuff, which would be you're too far gone, kill them all. They start shooting. Rick actually gets shot, I think, at one part. Andrea gets shot, but doesn't die, it just grazes her. And she's their best shot, and you've just got a huge gunfight that breaks out. And this one's pretty exciting here, where Tyrese says Rick's been shot, and Rick's on the ground here. Which in the TV series too, he does get clipped too as well. But it doesn't seem to be as bad in the comic series. It seems to be worse. And they kind of, instead of with Too Far Gone, where it kind of all just goes to shit, and then they kind of break in and everything happens right away. The comic book series is kind of, there's more back and forth with the final battle, and you have Tyrese and Michonne that go out to try to finish the governor. Tyrese gets caught, and instead of it being Herschel from the TV series version, it's Tyrese, and the governor actually cuts Tyrese's head off. So that's where they used that in the TV series, but they swapped it for Herschel, which I felt like was even more sad. But for Tyrese, it's sad too in the comic book series, that's for sure, because Tyrese is way tougher in the comic book series and TV series version. He's not nearly as nice. He goes out to try to kill the governor, and he actually tries to kill him. Like, he doesn't just go out and try to, like, I don't know, be friends with him or something. He actually tries to kill him, or like what happened with Martin and stuff. Totally different, totally changed for the TV series. So you got a part where Michonne almost gets the governor, but ends up shooting his ear off. So it's really close. And then the final battle happens. Axel gets shot and killed. This is the Axel in the comic book series. He dies. Holy cow, man. You've got Andrea's kicking ass because she's still alive and the governor hasn't killed her. She's part of the prison group. She never went to Woodbury and joined Woodbury in the comic book series. You've got the tanks coming in and all kinds of just hell breaking loose. Herschel gets killed. His son gets killed. They get just smoked down in the gunfire. Herschel's bringing him, and the next thing you know, Herschel's dragging him because he gets shot down. Oh man, this is the most. Yeah, this is the biggest death-heavy trade of The Walking Dead ever. And then the end, this one's the biggest one. This is the one where when I initially, if you're asking, one of your questions that I do get sometimes is, which did I go through first? Did I go through the television series or the comic book series first? The answer is the comic book series. And this trade right here, I lost my mind reading this trade. I read this one. I couldn't sleep after reading this one because of this page right here, warning. When Lori just gets blown apart, and the baby's in her hands when she does it, and gets blown apart as well too, and basically dies. And then Rick actually says to Carl, don't look back, just keep running, because he realizes that Lori's just been blown to pieces, and if they stay there, they're going to get killed as well too. Carl almost gets shot, but they're able to run away through the zombies, and then the governor does execute Herschel, because the governor wins in the comic series version. Woodbury beats the prison. The prison doesn't defend itself. They lose, and they have to run away. And, so then what happens is Lily, who's a character who, in the television series version, she kind of has a quick relationship with the governor, and she puts him down. But in the comic book series, she's just like a person from Woodbury, and she decides that after the governor killed a baby, that she's done with him and everything that's happened. So she actually... she kills him. She shoots his other eye out, kills the governor, and then they eat. And it looks like she kind of takes over the rest of the Woodbury group, and they kind of, I believe they head into the prison or they don't show it. So the rest of the Woodbury it's still alive in the comic book series, probably somewhere, unless zombies eventually got them or something else happened with them, which we don't know. We don't know what happened. But this one right here is You're Too Far Gone, and it's even more traumatic in the comic book series version because you have the death of Lori and the baby at the same time. Whereas in the TV series version, they swap it, they remix it, and Judith survives. Lori is killed earlier on during a C-section during the prisoner stuff, and it's quite the remix. So there's a lot of differences between the timing. This is the end of the prison arc right here. The timing of the TV series, the way that season 3 comes through, the end of it, the governor almost wins, he loses, then he comes back in the TV series. That's totally different from the comic book series where... that never really happens. Andrea's always on the good side. She never joins with the governor. She never sleeps with him or anything like that. And I think that might be right there why in season 3 they decided we're just going to kill Andrea off, because after she sleeps with the governor, could you see her? This is the comic series version right there. Could you see her get married to Rick? Could you see her in a relationship with Rick? I don't think so. Not after she slept with the governor. That's too far. She's too far gone now. I guess they decided they were going to kill her off in the TV series because they went that route with her. Other differences between season 3 and the comic book series: Daryl and Merle don't exist in the comic book series at all. So the whole Merle stuff totally different. Glenn does get captured in the TV series version too, but it's not the same. Maggie doesn't at all in the TV series version, so that's different as well too. And the back and forth battles, the timing and everything is way different. Martinez gets swapped out for Bob in season 5 when Rick runs him over and tells him to stop. Again, they really changed it a lot, and it made me really excited when I was watching the TV series version because I had no idea what they were going to do. T-Dog doesn't exist in the comic book series as well, so there's another difference. Beth doesn't exist, so that's another difference. So a lot of differences. Maggie is basically the same, but you're seeing here in season 3, they really took liberties with it, and they brought it further away, I think, in the television series than almost any other part of the series, any other season. Season 3 was way, they covered too much stuff, but in terms of the general story and the timing, they re-changed everything up. So then we go to Here We Remain, which is your halfway through season 4's part, where you have Rick and Carl. They're sitting at a campfire, and basically they're just surviving. That's it. Eventually, this is the same as when Michonne finds them again in the the television series after Too Far Gone, where they're all split up and she finds them, and Rick is hurt and Carl needs to kind of protect him and take care of him, and they stay in a house, and that's what happens with that. And then eventually Michonne finds him again, which is in the season 4's second half, which is actually a great half. I really like this part of the series. It's really crazy to think, like, where are they going to go from here? And you've got some of the phone stuff with Rick kind of losing his mind still, which in season 3 was all the way included. And then you have Glenn and Maggie, who they meet back up. You have Andrea, who meets back up with the group, and they all kind of start finding each other, start getting back together, which in the TV series was changed for Terminus. In the comic book series version, they kind of go back to Herschel's farm because it's not destroyed, and they find everybody there, like they find each other there. And then at the end of this one, Here We Remain, which would be halfway through season 4, second half, basically, they meet Eugene and Abraham and Rosita, which in the TV series also occurs at a different part. But Abraham in the comic book series is super badass. He kills some zombies with a pitchfork, which is cool. And so that's this one. That's Here We Remain, Volume 9, on their way to Washington. So they set out on that. That feels different too. You don't find out that Eugene's a liar until later on. We have the volume What We Become. So you see Rick here. He's got the one hand, and he's got blood all over his shirt. Same time as when he bit Joe, season 4's finale. This is the trait that it's based on. But instead of Joe's group, the Claimers, you just have this kind of random trio that they kind of run into, which is it's quite a bit different. They don't have a backstory or anything like that, whereas Joe's group, we get to see them more. It's more exciting. This is different. Maggie tries to kill herself. Yeah, right here. See? She's trying to kill herself right there. And they actually save her. Glenn takes her down. They save her. She's depressed after losing her whole family and everything, which you can understand, especially your dad, in such a brutal fashion. And they end up making it. She ends up making it. Abraham and Rick almost kill each other. Really, really close here. Rick's got the gun on Abraham. He almost kills him. Almost kills him just like that, which is different from the TV series. That never occurs. Maggie wakes back up, and she ends up surviving. She ends up making it. But Abraham and Rick still don't really like each other. They're still kind of fighting for superiority. They're still fighting for leadership. And Abraham tells Rosita, as she embraces him, don't let me kill again, right here. Don't let me kill again. Don't let me do it. Because he doesn't want to kill Rick, but yet he's kind of in this fighting position with Rick. Eventually, he kind of accepts Rick as the general leader of the survivors, because he's been leading his own group, of course, with Rosita and the others. Then we get into the part where Rick and Abraham and Carl get into a fight with the Marauders, they're called, which is a name that they're kind of given to. They're like these 3 triplets or something right here. Just some really ugly dudes, like little dudes, ugly, and they kind of gank them. They get them in the dark, and they're about to do some dark stuff to Carl, which is nasty. But Rick ends up biting them down and killing them and kind of ripping them to shreds with his hands, which is used in the season 4 finale. In the season 4 finale, you get into the Terminus stuff, which does not occur in the comic book series at all. There is no Terminus. Terminus doesn't exist. It's not a place. It's not a thing in the comic book series at all. Then we meet Morgan. Morgan is cool in the comic book series. He's got the shovel here. He's ready to. He's out of it. His hair's real long. He's like, Rick. Rick goes to see him to get some ammo and stuff like that, and to check in and everything and see if he's still alive. And in the comic book series version, he never kills Dwayne. He never does. Dwayne is wandering around here. He lets him free, and then Morgan leaves and just leaves Dwayne to roam around as a zombie, basically, zombie kid. Which I do prefer the television series version of Morgan, because Morgan in the comic book series is just crazy. He's not really crazy within reason or aggressively crazy. He's just kind of crazy. Like, he doesn't really know what's going on. He's lost his sense of reality. He's lost his sense of connection. So he comes in the television series at the end of season 5, and in here he comes in at the end of what would be season 4. So way earlier in the comic book series, he comes back. We see a huge splash page where they're riding down, and there's zombies everywhere, a huge herd that they have to smash through, which is kind of what they use in season 5. And eventually they have to get out of their cars and they have to run while all the zombies are chasing them, which is really, really exciting in the comic book series. Let's see, where do we go from there? We see a house that's kind of crazy. There's people that are dead everywhere. And, let's see here. There's a part coming up where, okay, so you have these two brothers, and you have one cuts up a cat. They find a cat that's dead. Now, these brothers are swapped out for Lizzie and Mika. But instead of Carol putting down who would be Lizzie, or Ben, I believe, Carl does it in the comic book series. Carl kills him because he knows that he kills his brother, and he knows he's nuts. So Carl decides to protect the group and to kill him because everybody else is kind of too afraid to, or they can't kill him. He's a kid, right? So they don't want to do that. So then we get to Fear the Hunters, and we're more than halfway through now. We got about 75%. So hang with me there, guys. We're almost done. We're gonna do it all. We're gonna go through the whole thing up to present time. So we've got Fear the Hunters, who there's no terminus like in the TV series. You find Ben, who killed his brother, like Lizzie did Mika, and Dale and Andrea. See, Dale's still alive right now. He's got a stub leg, and he's still alive in the comic book series version when he died in season 2. So he's still there right now. So they're talking about killing the kid because the kid's so confused. Andrew won't allow it. They won't allow it. And then you hear blam at night, and we find out that Carl snuck into his sleeping car, into the car he's sleeping in, and Carl kills him, which is kind of the descent into darkness that Carl goes through versus in the TV series where he's nowhere near at that point. And then Carl confesses to Rick that he did in fact kill him because he did it to protect the group, and that's it. Then we see Gabriel come in, who comes in. Let's see, season 5, right? First couple episodes after Terminus, so that's close to the same time as this, which would be volume 11, Fear the Hunters. We see the stuff with the Hunters. Dale is captured instead of Bob, and they eat his foot, and he laughs because he's been bitten. So then the Hunters are like, what the F? Then they stay at the church, and let's see, you have Rick, and basically they go to war with the Hunters, and they kill them off pretty much instantaneously. Later, the Hunter's name's Chris. In the TV series, totally different, and at the end he tells them, hold them down when Rick and the group beat the Hunters, or the termites in the TV series, and they chop them to pieces, they brutalize them, they kill them, they take all their weapons, and they load up on ammo. Here's a part where they've got like all their weapons and everything, and they come back, and that's it, it's over. They killed the Hunters, which this one is one of the most scary trades I've ever read in my life. And in the TV series, it's really scary too. In the comic book series, I almost feel like it's even more scary. So that's volume number 11. That's Fear of the Hunters, man. Crazy. Okay, so then volume 12, Life Among Them. Now this is a pretty good one. This is with Carl, and you can see a shadow here. You got some zombies around him. And Rick asks him why he killed Ben, and Carl says because to protect the group he felt like he had to and no one else could do it. Then we find out Eugene is a liar, which in the TV series occurs in season 5. We meet Aaron, Rick beats him up and that kind of thing, and eventually they head out on their way to Alexandria, which is close to the same time. This would be like season 5, midway through second half of season 5. We meet Douglas. That's mostly the same, except Douglas is a male, Deanna female in the TV series, so that's swapped. That's different. And yeah, let's see here. What else we got here? mostly the same. From that, we see a flashback with Michonne, what happened to her. There's a party, which is very similar. Michonne gets angry and storms out. In the television series, it's Sasha. She's given that part. And Rick doesn't trust the people, which is very similar to the TV series version. Season 5 is a lot closer. There's none of the best stuff. There's none of the hospital stuff that doesn't exist in the comic book series version. So just a FYI for that. And then we have a trade which is actually called Too Far Gone, which is at a party where everybody's relaxing and just chilling inside Alexandria, and Rick and the others are like, they can't do it. Carl talks about how they're all in denial and how it's not real and that sooner or later zombies are going to get in, it's going to happen again. All this craziness. You've got Heath is introduced in the series. You've got Glenn who's in there too, who's still doing his thing. And you've got the fight between Peter and Rick, and the Jesse part there too. Michonne stops Rick, and let's see, Douglas tells Rick if he does it again that he'll kill him, this kind of thing, not exile him. He's even tougher in the comic book series, not like Deanna who would just exile you. Douglas will actually kill him. So then we get the part at the end with Peter accidentally kind of kills Douglas's wife, Regina, so she dies, and then he tells Rick to do it. And then after that, Rick kills him, which would be the season 5 finale. So we're almost in the season 6 now. And then the scavengers hear the gunshots, and they head out towards Alexandria, who are a lot different from the wolves in the TV series. There's none of this wolf stuff. There's no Char-Wilt, Noah's place. There's no Noah. None of that happens. It's basically they hear it, and they head out on their way to Alexandria. In the TV series version, they attack in JSS. In the comic book series version, we get into No Way Out, which is the part that we're starting to see like right now. You've got Rick and Michonne, and they're inside a house, and they're looking out, and they're getting ready for what's about to come on the cover. And basically, we see, so the wolves attack first in the, let's see here. I'm trying to say the scavengers attack first in the comic book series because after they heard the gunshot, you have Peter who's dead. Rick is sleeping with Jesse, and they kind of like move in type deal, I think, basically. So they're sleeping together, and that's different because the TV series, that never happened. We get the No Way Out stuff. Let's see, did I miss one? Did I skip one? You know what I did? At the end of volume 13 is when the wolves attack. So they actually do attack first, and then all the gunfire draws in the herd. So I guess that's kind of the same as the TV series in that way, but it doesn't feel the same because they show up out of nowhere, and they attack while Rick is actually there. It's not like Rick is gone, and Andrea kind of takes him out as a sniper. She takes down the scavengers in this trade right here. So then No Way Out happens. From all the gunshots, it draws in the herd, but there's no herd in a valley or anything like that, or in that is kind of walked into one general position like it happens in the TV series, which was a cool change. And this part gets into severe spoilers, so I'll warn you guys, for those of you who don't know the spoilers for the second half of season 6, because we haven't seen this part yet. So this part right here gets into the the final kind of part of season 6. So for this part, I think I'll go up to right here, and this is where I'll stop for now, because this gets into the second half of season 6. When they try to leave and they're covered in the guts, they try the guts trick, and they go to leave with all of them together. And a lot of the deaths that occur in the comic book series have been spoiled for the TV series version, and a lot of them are going to be the same, very similar or basically the same. So yeah, I'll stop it here because we can go on a little bit further. Basically, I'll keep it general. We're up to here right now. We're up to halfway through here. Changes from the first half of season 6 are just having all the zombies in that valley, the wolves attacking while they're gone, all that stuff happening, Morgan and Carol having to defend it. In the comic book series version, it's Andrea and it's Rick. And then after that is going to be the second half of season 6, which I don't want to get into because it's going to ruin it for a lot of people who just want to know the differences. After that, we get to We Find Ourselves, which should be good, which has some stuff that's in the first half of season 6. The Carter stuff is done with Nicholas. Nicholas is much different. There's no Glenn versus Nicholas deal in the comic series version, and that's that. And I'll try to keep the rest of this spoiler-free for the rest of the trades that we're going to cover. Larger World's going to be coming up second half, which should be good, where they find a new community and they find lots of different stuff, and that should be good. And then Something to Fear, one of the best trades ever, for sure, I've ever read, when Negan finally shows up. Volume 17. Should be amazing. So that's it, guys. Up until current time, up to the second half of The Walking Dead season 6. That's basically everything. That's pretty much all. I tried to sum it up for you as best I could. There's so many differences. It's difficult to sum them all up in one video and talk about them with you guys. But there's a summary for you guys who have not read the comic book series. Now you kind of know everything that's happened in the comic book series up to this point. It's mostly different from the television series. I would suggest that you buy the comic book series if you love the Walking Dead television series and you like reading comic books. If you don't like reading comic books, if you just like to read, I'd say give it a shot because it's so different. There's so many different changes. The characters are so different that I think you will enjoy it. And of course, I can't wait to see the second half of season 6, how it differs from the trades. It's interesting to compare the both. There's so many differences. The characters are different. You've got Andrea instead of Sasha, and it's not even just that simple. There's Dale instead of Herschel. There's a lot of different character changes. No Terminus, no Beth, no Hospital, no Daryl, no Merle. It's very different. You can enjoy them both independently. Tyrese coming in way earlier, and just all kinds of craziness. So there's my kind of in-depth going over trade by trade. What's different from the two, what you need to know, Rick losing his hand, everything like that. And and then maybe we can do one again in the future, but not after this half, probably in a couple years. I do this like every couple years, and we can just maybe update the rest. So hope you guys like that. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday season. And write your comments below on what you think of the differences. Maybe we can do like a top 5, top 10 list of the main ones. But there's an in-depth video for you guys. Different video than I usually do, a lot longer than usual. But just, because there's no Walking Dead on, we can do stuff like this right now. Why not, right? So, and I want to do something special kind of for the holidays. So there it is for you guys. I hope you liked it, because it's a lot of energy to do this one. I'm going to clean the backdrop now and set it up with the new trays with some of the new stuff. Update it. Needs an update. So if you guys like this super long video, you can thumb it up below. If you want to support the channel, you can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, you want to see more videos like this, I do them every so often, lots of Walking Dead stuff, comic book series, television series, everything, talk about it all, you can subscribe at the bottom left. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please do me a solid, thumb it up. This was a difficult one to make. It took a long time. That's it for this video, guys. Happy holidays. See you again really soon. Happy New Year. As always, it's Trev. I'm saying peace.